It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belghast, and let's start the show.
Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 408. Tonight I'm joined by Ammo.
Hello.
Ashgar.
100 combo.
Kodra.
Hello.
Tam.
Presenting Dr. Baby Sounds.
And Thalen.
Hello.
Kodra, you tried to look up what the 408 error was?
The server would like to shut down this unused connection. What the heck is this one? Oh, it's a request timeout.
Timeout, yeah.
Yep.
Request timeout. I have not experienced that one.
I've not experienced it as 408 anyway.
I mean, usually it comes across as connection reset by
handles.
server.
Yeah, isn't that usually a 500 series?
Usually, yeah.
I mean, maybe in some world they think that the server's going to politely ask to reset the connection. That's not what's happened in my behavior, so.
No. I'm not going to nicely ask you to please time out your connection that isn't being used.
504 is the number I'm used to seeing for this.
Yep.
Just get bodied.
This whole series is hilarious because you can tell that we've all looked at a lot of these error codes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a few that are coming in a few months. One in particular. No spoilers.
So, topic that was entered for last week, but then didn't happen because Ash wasn't around. Digimon Card game.
It's a card game. It exists. It came out in the middle of the unfortunate times. So I was basically unaware of it until looking at a lot of card game related things this year. And I really like the concept of this one.
It seems very fun.
Like most card games that aren't Magic, it doesn't have resource cards.
Mm-hmm.
Or Pokemon, I guess. Pokemon has energy. But it's kind of funny that how rare that idea is outside of those games.
The most popular games?
I mean,
guess.
So a lot of people have played Magic and have experienced getting mana hosed and realized it's not fun. So then they make their own game.
Pokemon has solved this in a different way.
That's not solving it.
Everything is a tutor.
I mean, I think the Flesh and Blood system is pretty decent as well. You pitch a number of cards to pay for your resource, so anything can be a mana source.
And I think WoW had that going on too.
Yeah.
Yeah, WoW allowed you to turn any card upside down to be a resource, but there were resource cards that you could play that were quests that you could use as resources and also complete for a bonus reward.
Fair enough. Yu-Gi-Oh, however, has nothing resembling resource cards, and neither does the Digimon card game. The only thing the Digimon card game has that's non-standard is eggs, as it were.
I was about to say,
So
eggs go in their own deck. I feel like I would argue that level 3s are kind of resources.
That's fair, but you can play higher levels directly. But anyway, eggs are level 2. You play one of the ways you can get monsters in play is by digivolving, by playing like a level 3 on a level 2. However, the only way to get level 2 is eggs. And eggs are kind of slow because they can't come out. They can't enter your battle area on the turn they come into play. Because moving something from your breeding area to your battle area or hatching an egg at all are the same step and you can only do one of them. But generally speaking, you're trying to attack your opponent to deplete their security deck to win the game. And it's kind of a fun setup, honestly.
Mm-hmm. You can, when I was playing against Ash, I believe I was able to play a level 4 Greymon, evolve it into a level 5 Greymon, and then evolve it into a level 6 Greymon.
Yes.
Well, is that as high as it goes?
Level 6 is as high as it goes, I think.
Okay.
I believe level 6 is as high as it goes for
As
Greymon.
of right now. I mean,
I am going to note that Omnimon exists, and it is Greymon plus Gururmon.
Okay.
And it is a level 7.
Is it a level 7? Okay.
Yes. But mostly, level 6 is as high as you're going to go.
You can choose to attack either the security deck or your opponent's Digimon that they have brought up. And this is useful because, like, your opponent on their next turn is going to be able to attack your security deck. Now, when you attack security decks, they flip over a card. If they flip over a level 6, that might be strong enough to just beat you. And at which point you have taken a card off your security deck, but your Digimon goes away as well. And it's a big deal to be able to like attack the security deck and keep your Digimon around, because then you get to attack next turn unless your opponent manages to defeat your Digimon.
The other thing because there are no resource cards, another thing I find interesting is the resource mechanic, which is a tug-of-war system. Basically, you sort of share a memory pool that goes from +10 to -10. And as long as it is on your side, it is your turn. Playing cards directly depletes this.
Shifts it over to your opponent's side. Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting.
You can't ever go past -10, so you need to be at like at least 3 if you want to play a card that costs 13. But generally speaking, you're probably not going to directly play a card that costs 13. Not if you can help it.
I mean, are there ways to cheat those cards into play?
There's Digivolving.
Yeah, you can Digivolve them.
Which costs way less than 13, usually 3 or 4.
I think for that much, they probably cost like 5.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Some of them don't, though.
The one that I had in my deck was I could play it for 12, or I could Digivolve it for 5. I did play it for 12, and that was the right answer, because you didn't have enough cards in your hand to actually spend 10 resources.
Correct. Although we also learned things like you're supposed to draw a card when you Digivolve.
That's true.
And I would have had a lot more cards if that had been doing that properly.
That would have probably been a much bigger swing if you had done that.
But yeah, the original starter decks are kind of all the same, as it were. Pokemon used to do this too. They're just not really good because they are allegedly built on themes, but there are not enough cards to support those themes. They've since, however, come out with some new starter decks that look more promising, but we haven't gotten a chance to try them yet.
Mostly because they're so promising that everyone wants to farm them for staples.
Yes, well, I do at least own them now. But yeah, that's a problem. It's sort of a problem because it kind of means that they did make enough of them so that people who want the staples can just buy more than one. It's not like there is a particular shortage. But yeah, promising card game. Been fun so far.
Yeah.
Hope it's fun in the future. And I'm interested to see where it's going.
Definitely has more promise than
Card Fight Vanguard?
Card Fight Vanguard, yes.
I mean, that has like a bunch of mechanics that we just didn't have, but also it has mechanics that I'll particularly enjoy. Like, I don't really think I'm into that kind of card game. I just happened to buy it 9 years ago. Wow.
It's been a bit.
Time moved real weird. So, Thalen, I think you've been back in Fallout 76, correct?
I mean, in for the first time. I never played it so
you weren't with us when we played it last time.
No. I've been in a Fallout mood and had started playing some Fallout 4, and then the talk of, games that had improved last time, and Fallout 76 made me decide to, go ahead and check it out, especially since they were doing like a free week or however long recently. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. Like, I kind of wish I had played it, back when it first came out, but also it was apparently, in need of a lot of help back then. So maybe it's for the best. But yeah, it's very Fallout. I'm up into like the level 20s at this point.
What build are you doing?
I'm putting part cards in places. I don't know. I mean, I have a shotgun. I like my shotgun.
You like
your shotgun?
Okay.
Like one of the things I'm appreciating is that at least so far, I don't know how, if this lasts into end game or not, but at least so far, my normal tactics of sneaking around and sniping things from a long, long way away when possible, and doing all the close-up work with the shotgun is working just fine.
I mean, the biggest problem that I'm having, honestly, is keeping in food that doesn't irradiate the shit out of me, and also keeping enough rat away to get rid of the irradiation.
I mean, I'm swimming in rat away. I don't know. I mean, so one thing that I do is, at least for right now, my camp is right by the Wayfarer.
Yeah, that's where mine is too.
I'm sure I'll move it someday. But basically, every time I log in, I run over to the Wayfarer and milk all the Brahmin.
Oh, okay.
And then I've got some Brahmin milk that will, remove radiation.
Good call. I have not been doing that.
I just drink however much of that I need to clear my radiation, and then as I get radiated, I keep drinking it until it spoils, and then toss it. But yeah, that generally works reasonably well. I mean, I have no shortage of food. It's mostly just that it spoils. So, but I've I killed like 30 rad toads earlier today doing an event involving lighting a lighthouse to try to summon the Mothman, because West Virginia. And
the
so
Mothman lives.
And so I've got so many rad toad omelets and rad toad roasts for the moment.
I'm trying to remember what the raid event that we did when we were playing that was.
It was like a power station.
Yeah, on a lake.
Yeah, and you had to fix the power station, and then raiders attacked or mutants attacked or something that.
There was some giant thing that attacked us.
But there was a bunch of waves before we got to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've mostly been playing in my own little private world because other people.
I've also been playing in my own little private world most of the time.
Yeah, but but some events are doable, soloable, and so I defended the giant teapot on my own without too much trouble, and I lit the lighthouse on my own without too much trouble. So.
I think right now they're giving everybody free first, and that's how you're able to roll your own private world.
Well, they're giving free first, but you can't. But it does not include the private world. I did go ahead and give them money.
Okay, yeah, I've been giving them money, and I'm fine with that because it's love.
I can't play this game.
Is it not?
Why?
Because I bought it on Bethesda back when it had the Bethesda launcher.
Yeah, but I just got a copy of it for free with Steam.
Yeah, but
Bethesda merged their library.
It won't link my Steam account.
Oh,
I've just been fiddling with
cool.
it. It's just nope, can't link your Steam account.
Well,
is it for other reasons?
I don't think so. But yeah, it just won't link.
Weird. I didn't have to do anything to link it. It was just in my Steam inventory, and I downloaded it and played it, and that was it.
But yeah, because it would be cool if I could try doing some stuff with some other people at some point.
I really enjoyed playing that game with people.
Have you run into the loot goblins yet?
No, there are loot goblins.
There are loot goblins. They're little.
Of course, there are loot goblins.
They're little super mutants.
Oh,
but they're not I mean, I say, they're super mutants. They're mutants, but they're little bitty tiny mutants.
Okay.
And they kind of look like mole men.
Mm-hmm.
And they will drop lunch pails, and the lunch pails basically are full of loot.
Yeah, I think they are mole men, because I did notice that one of the some of the crafting recipes are to turn an empty mole man lunchbox into a full one or something. So yeah, I guess that's what that is.
A lot of times they show up when you're doing events.
Okay. I did come across the super mutant merchant who is really obsessed with meat, which the radio station DJ mentions occasionally when introducing Butcher Pete.
It's way more interesting now that there's actual NPCs in the game.
Yeah, I do like the presence of actual. That was one of the things that I was really it really turned me off of the idea when it first came out. It was so it's just robots.
Well, the Wayfarer didn't exist previously.
Right. And I gather the radio station was just fully automated because
it was just
again
music.
the DJ occasionally talks about how when people started coming back, she had to come make sure the radio station would be okay, and that she got there just in time to prevent it from breaking down. Yeah. But yeah, there's not masses of NPCs all over the place, but there's people. There are raiders in places that you can fight. There's there's the Wayfarer and the folks there. All of the stuff that I presume is the original content is still there with terminals and robots.
Yep. The responders stuff.
Well, yeah, walking you through the responders stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole quest line was originally just, in terminals.
Yeah, which I just finished joining the Fire Breathers. But yeah, it's pretty fun. I've been enjoying it. I probably need to hop into a normal server at some point to actually try the alien event that's going on right now. I hate those aliens. They most things like their level is the same as your level. Those aliens, I don't know if it's that they have a minimum level that they can't go below, but they're awful, and they have been in my way occasionally and murdered me, which concerned me for a moment. And then I realized that, oh, okay, I only like drop whatever junk I was carrying, and everything else stays in my inventory. So like I want that junk, but I didn't lose anything that like I can't fight without.
Right. It doesn't actually kneecap your ability to fight.
Yeah, because that was the other thing that turned me off was the awareness that like there was some degree of PvP in this game, and then and of course there's the thing with like I guess you can't do full damage to somebody until they shoot back at you, but I don't know. I know how griefers work. Like they find a way to ensure that one of your bullets hits them, and then they murder you. Like I've seen this game before.
I honestly remember thinking the exact same thing and never having a problem with it.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the same thing I went through. It was like it wasn't a big deal. Like
That's good.
Like every so often I did have somebody who tried to PvP me and they were trivially easy to ignore. But like
I bet if I'd been playing with you, they would have found the proper way to do it.
I mean, they tried a bunch of different ways of doing it and it never worked. I mean, like they did like 1 HP of damage or whatever.
But yeah, so Fallout 76 is neat. I should have played it long ago. Like
I should check it out.
I've been playing Fallout games since they came on 5.25-inch discs and were called Wasteland. Like it shouldn't have taken me so long to get to this one.
Yeah, the thing is like it is a game that is reviled within those in the supposed know, but like it's really pretty good anymore. Like it's multiplayer Fallout.
Yeah,
but also you can play it in a private world. It is just Fallout.
Yeah, I mean it's based on Fallout 4, and so it has some of the same flaws that Fallout 4 does. That whatever.
It's got a way more interesting perk system than Fallout 4 had.
Yes, that is. I do like the perk system better, and I don't have to deal with all the Minutemen crap. So there's that. I have a camp that I can build stuff in instead of 50 different camps with survivors who are all the time needing me to come save them from raiders.
Who are awful at everything.
Yes. Instead, my one camp has an ally hanging out in it that will shoot at things that come too close. And that's fine.
And you can be taken home by country roads to the place where you belong.
Yes. Yeah, I also am very happy that lots of the old standard Fallout songs are here, but also we have some new ones, some of which are more modern.
Yes.
This is good.
It's significantly more modern.
Listen, it's a West Virginia Fallout. You can't really expect them to not include country roads.
Gotta have country roads. Yeah, we've also got Ring of Fire. Like, I am pleased.
Fallout 1 and 2 didn't have any music though, right?
No.
This was an innovation in 3, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, the whole Fallout radio thing that started in 3.
Digitized audio was barely a thing when Fallout 1 and 2 came along. Like music was mostly MIDI.
Yeah, we weren't getting actual licensed songs in Fallout 1 and 2. No.
But like Three Dog is like the thing that sold me on Fallout 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure if like this DJ is one that you can never actually encounter directly, or this is more of a Mr. New Vegas situation.
Yeah, but like this one has way more charisma than Mr. New Vegas. Like that is honestly the weakest point of Fallout New Vegas is Mr. New Vegas.
Yeah, like he's fine.
Yeah.
But whatever. Yeah, no, I like Julie a lot. She's a good kid. Like if she does need my help with anything, she's absolutely getting it.
I will have to pick this up. I wonder if my character still exists who was a absolute like melee monster in power armor.
Probably. My original one did, but I re-rolled just to see the experience.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna. Remember at that point I wanted to re-roll, and there was a specific like VAT sniper build I wanted to work on. It looked like a lot of fun.
Well, you can now also get like different loadout slots. So basically, you can have multiple builds on one character.
Mm-hmm. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the limit is, and I mean you got to buy them in the Atoms store, but yeah,
but they're really cheap.
Yeah, I think it's 500 atoms.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry.
But yeah, you
that's
can have
awesome. So I don't have to wait. Are you telling me, the person who hates alting, that I don't have to alt?
Yeah, you don't have to alt.
Yeah,
you can just carry your stack of cards and then build them out in different ways, however you want.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, because they're because they all run off the same pack of cards, and you do have to pay attention to, like, if you've got one build where you're using this card upgraded all the way, and you make a different build and you want to use that card but at a lower level, well, you're going to need another copy of that card. But
my favorite little thing that they've added in is the ability to have your own private vault.
Yeah, you can have a shelter. I haven't done anything with it. It's just like sitting there completely empty. But yeah, that is a thing now.
I have a giant Brotherhood of Steel tower on mine, and like that's the cool thing about First is they give you new things every couple weeks. Some of them are not useful. Some of them are terribly useful.
Mm-hmm.
I have an army of protectrons that go out and scavenge stuff for me, and there's just a box that it all collects in.
Well, that would be nice.
Yeah, somewhere in the shop.
At some point, I'm going to have to figure out like how to get fusion cores.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
But I'm not yet high enough level that I can actually wear power armor that has any armor on it. So
you have just got a power armor skeleton at the moment.
Yeah, like I ran across a power armor skeleton when I was like level 8, and so I ran that thing back to my camp, and it's just hanging out in my stash, wait until I can actually do something useful with it.
I got to be honest, like, I hate having to look through the power armor HUD. I wish it would just let you wear power armor without putting you in power armor HUD.
Oh man, I was having the opposite thing where for the first time I felt like power armor felt like power armor and not just like heavy armor that has cool graphics.
Yeah, I just wanted it to be heavy armor that had cool graphics. I didn't like Fallout 4's power armor implementation.
I mean,
so I ran around without it most of the time.
I miss not being able to just, wear the power armor and not have to worry about fusion cores. But, I get it.
There's a fusion core in a mine near Wayfarer.
I mean, I
think is there every time you respawn.
No, I've run into lots of the generators or whatever, but there's never a fusion core in them. So I don't know if it's like a random roll or what. Like, I'm starting to wonder, do these just not spawn in private worlds? That would suck.
No, I've seen them in private worlds.
Okay. But yeah, so far I think I've got maybe 4 fusion cores that I've just stripped out of various suits of power armor that I've come across.
Weird thing is like the custom worlds that you can do crazy rule sets with seemingly count towards your board game progress.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it says some stuff doesn't progress, but was unclear on what it actually meant by that. Like just the story, or
no, like because you get levels in it too. Like I don't know what actually doesn't count for what.
I should look at like what kind of rules changes you can make, because some of those might make completing some of those easier. That's the other reason I guess I should probably like jump into a normal world, is to do some events and stuff for the board progress. I don't know how long I have left on the current board. I know the alien event ends on like the 18th.
I don't know when this board started.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. I don't know when it started, so like I can't imagine I'm going to get to the end of the thing, but I'll get what I can. But yeah, if anyone wants to play Fallout 76,
I'm installing it now.
Yeah, I need to group up at some point.
If I can manage to get into it, I have no idea how to find. I don't know. It's super frustrating that I can't actually access my game.
Yeah, that sucks.
I think it plays reasonably well on a Steam Deck even. I think it was one of those games that was rated pretty highly.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I probably don't want to go too terribly deep into this because I would imagine there are people that haven't seen it, but
it's only been like 2 days, so yeah.
My God, was She-Hulk a great series?
Oh yeah, that was fantastic. It ended.
It was so
It ended
good.
how a She-Hulk series should end.
It was so true to the comic.
Yes.
Like it literally traces moments I remember. I mean, like obviously redone for the fact that this is a TV show, not a comic book. But like, yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
Maybe my favorite Marvel property so far. Like,
It's
prior to She-Hulk, I would have said it was Ms. Marvel.
Like, I feel like it's the first one that's really done something actually different.
So I understand what She-Hulk is doing a little bit. I've been a little spoiled. I will say a lot of Marvel has been doing some weird, like WandaVision was weird.
It was until the last 2 episodes where it turned into a standard Marvel superhero fight.
Right? Okay, yes. But for the most part, it was doing something very different.
It was.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with it being a Marvel superhero fight at that point. It worked. But we have had, the thing where it had started to become like, it's like, okay, we're getting to the last 2 episodes of this series. It's time for it to turn into standard Marvel superhero stuff. And
they did something else?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's very true to She-Hulk.
She-Hulk is the superhero who, when irritated with the way the story is going, yells at the creator and threatens to come out of the book to punch him in the face.
I do appreciate that She-Hulk was doing Deadpool before Deadpool existed.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Deadpool made it to the big screen first, but She-Hulk was breaking the fourth wall in the 80s.
It does mean I kind of hope at some point we get Deadpool and She-Hulk.
Oh, God.
I mean,
we've had She-Hulk and Madcap, which is almost the same thing.
I mean, there's some Easter eggs. I'll just say.
Sure.
Like, there's a certain room that has some heavy Easter eggs in it.
We're definitely. I mean, we're now getting Deadpool in the MCU, which I'm very excited for.
I would love to have somebody that can actually read lips. Tell me if there was anything even vaguely said during that trailer with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they were saying something. I'm sure it had nothing to do with what will actually happen.
It seemed mostly very inappropriate based on what the gestures they were making, is what I'll say.
I thought Andor was actually wrapping up this week, but apparently we've got 6 more episodes.
I just started that, and I hear that they released the first 3 episodes all together for a reason.
Yeah, I will say I did not get hooked until episode 5.
Yeah, I've heard similar, and honestly, like I've had that anime experience.
I was gonna say it's just
general anime experiences. My favorite animes usually hook me by episode 2 or 3.
Yeah, like this is very much, Star Wars doing the Bourne Identity kind of thing. But like this week's Andor kind of was a seemingly clean wrap up, but and I thought, oh, well, this must be the end of the season. And no, there's 6 more episodes. So I don't know where they're going with it. Okay, what is Taiji?
Taiji. Taiji is a game that is like The Witness. Did you like The Witness?
No, not at all.
You might like Taiji if you did. You probably won't like this one, though. It's very much the game where you are wandering around and learning how the mechanics work by solving the tutorial puzzles.
What? And isn't this like the 2D version of Witness?
Yeah.
It is. And also this looks way less pretentious.
It is way less pretentious.
I mean, it almost has to be.
It's so much less pretentious.
So you say that, but Fez exists.
Well, so okay. I remember reading about this, and they're like, did you like The Witness? This is a more approachable version of The Witness. I'm like, okay, I didn't really like The Witness, but I'm on board with the more approachable version.
Yeah. For the most part, this isn't doing the thing where you have to start seeing the puzzles everywhere. Like, mostly, so far, the puzzles are mostly self-contained. But it's fun to be like, here's I have seen this puzzle. I don't know what any of these symbols mean, and then discover the area that walks you through how to solve those puzzles. And then you come to a puzzle that suddenly breaks the rules, and it's like, maybe I don't actually understand all of the rules for this puzzle. Maybe I'm just maybe I still have more to learn. It's a mystery to slowly unravel. It's fun. You're solving like maze puzzles where you are either clicking on or off boxes. And you need to click on and off boxes in a certain pattern to make certain rules beat. And notably, there's not fully unique solutions to all of the puzzles. So as long as you meet the requirements of the puzzle, like you'll get a solution, even if you could have multiple solutions. The game understands what those rules are. You just might not. If learning how to solve puzzles through exploration of puzzles sounds fun to you, Taiji might be a game for you.
Sounds like English country tune.
English country
There's more
tune.
game than that.
Yeah, there's more game here than English country tune. English country tune is like literally like we're going to load you into a puzzle. This is an open world. This is like a world you are exploring, and like there are a bunch of puzzles that you walk up to in this world. And like very Witness style, you solve one puzzle and then a wire energizes so that you can start solving the next series of puzzles until all of the wires energize and a door opens and you have a much more complicated, much more complete version of the puzzle to solve. And then a fire lights up and you have solved that area. I have not been asked to watch a like 30-minute art film of a person trying to walk a candle across a windy passage before I could solve a puzzle. So yes,
have you really been playing a puzzle game then?
So it's already less pretentious than The Witness.
Oh, hey. So going back a step, because I just figured it out, for anybody else who might run into this Bethesda account issue, if you have more than one email address that might have been linked to a Steam account, even if you have never made a Bethesda account, I just created a new Bethesda account using a different email address that might have been linked, and lo and behold, it came with Steam already linked to it.
Uh-oh.
So I unlinked it, and now it's just linked. No, it's linked just fine. It's just fine.
Okay.
Don't even worry about it.
Okay. Yeah, like I have only ever used the one email address, so I guess that's why it just automatically worked for me, because yeah, like when I did it, it was just like we're just gonna give you copies of everything that you had on Bethesda and Steam. Sweet.
In this particular case, it was using my former employee address.
Aha.
Yep. Oh yeah, for anybody out there who might consider picking up Fallout 76, it's not free anymore right now, but it is heavily discounted. But only if you buy the base game on its own. There is a bundle that purports to be like the deluxe version. It is not discounted. The deluxe version consists of the game, which is currently only $10, and a recruitment bundle that's currently like 20 or 30, I think $20. The bundle, buying them together right now, will cost you $60, so don't do that.
Yeah, that seems like a mess.
I'm sure it's because the bundle is an Atom Shop thing, and there's probably a reason that they either can't or won't discount those. But yeah.
I will say that if you do end up picking up first because you want to play around with other worlds, like you get a really generous stipend of atoms, and they add up really fast.
Well, even if you're not interested in playing with other worlds, getting first gets you a survival tent, which lets you just, drop a fast travel point anywhere you want that you can use, that also has a stash and a bed and a cooking fire just all with it. And also gets you a scrap box that will hold an infinite amount of scrap.
Yes.
That you can get, because if you put scrap in your normal stash has a total weight limit, and eventually it will fill up. And, you want lots of scrap. You want to pick up all the junk and scrap it all and use it to do things. So, scrap box.
Yeah.
Apparently there's an ammo box that they're going to give us soon that is the same thing for ammo.
Yep.
I'm into this, because then, you can have all the fusion cores.
Yeah, and it's real important also to note that, like, the survival tent doesn't do anything to reset your camp point. So like
Correct.
it's just an additional thing that you can do.
Yeah, because you have your camp, and it's a fast travel point that's free to fast travel to, and you can move it around, but you have to pay to move it around, and it's you're leveling caps, which whatever. I'm actually starting to earn caps at a reasonable rate, so that's less awful than it was. But the survival tent, you can just drop it for free anytime, like anywhere outside of a point of interest, like anywhere you could put your camp, you can put the survival tent, and just.
Yeah, so if you want to hunt
Great.
somewhere, it's just a no-brainer
Yeah.
to drop it before going into the area.
Yep. So you can haul your stuff out, drop it, scrap it all at the survival tent, and drop it in there. And if you do need to go like repair things or whatever, fast travel to your camp, do that. Fast travel back to your survival tent, carry on. Like that alone, I feel has been worth the subscription.
I mean, plus you get an original, NCR Ranger outfit, which is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta admit, that's part of the reason why I went with it originally is like, I love Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
And that's an awesome outfit still to this day. So I've reported somewhat on Torchlight Infinite. And the biggest problem that I had with it to this point is that it was very much a quick and dirty mobile port and had no controls on it. And apparently it's recently patched when it went into open beta and has the ability to configure the controls finally.
Oh, good.
So positive, if you care about mouse and keyboard, you can now make it control however you want it to. Negative, still doesn't seem to have controller support.
Boo.
Like, it's one of the things that they said is going to happen before launch, but like, I guess they're really waiting that one out. Weirdly enough, you download it through Steam, but it's not connected to your Steam account at all. You have to log in with an Apple or Facebook or Google. It's a mobile app. Yeah. So right now it's apparently an open beta as of the 12th, and you can just go to Steam and download it to play with it. It's not exactly a magical experience. I mean, it's maybe a better version of Diablo Immortal, which isn't saying a lot because Diablo Immortal had problems.
Yeah, it sounds like a low bar.
I've not got to the point where it like actually makes me care about gacha mechanics, but like I've also not gotten terribly far. It did take me a long time to figure out a control scheme that I liked, and I was able to finally get it to do the thing where I hold W and then steer with the cursor. But I mean, like I had talked about it before, and it was mostly not in a great state. Now it's in a better state. So if you've been curious, you could just download it and try it out yourself. I'm not terribly up on it. Like, I don't think it's going to be a great experience, but it's a thing. It's out there.
It exists.
It exists. It is a game.
It's more than can be said for some games.
Someday maybe it will work with a controller. Because like, I think it would probably be a perfectly fine experience on a Steam Deck if it worked with a controller. It does not at all. So unless somebody's created a community profile on the Steam Deck, I may have to try that, see if that works. What is Roguebook?
Roguebook is a card-based roguelite that has been out for some time. I picked it up recently on the Switch, in which I was reminded of all the problems that video games used to have in the very early HD days, because its text is not nearly big enough when playing in portable mode. But
this is that one that Richard Garfield was involved with to some degree.
It is that one, yes.
Oh.
But yeah, this is a sort of Slay the Spire-like, as it were, where you have a pair of characters and cards associated with them, which may cause them to move forward and back and a variety of other effects.
When you say move forward and back, what do you mean by that?
I mean, you have a character who is in front and a character who is behind, and certain cards may cause them to switch places. Like cards with guard, generally speaking, always cause characters to move to the front. Certain attacks with charge will cause characters to move to the front, but characters in the back can still attack, usually.
Okay.
And in fact, there are cards that are ranged attacks cost less if you use them from the back.
Aha.
But the big thing in this one is that all the characters have rather different mechanics and extremely different card options.
Do you get to mix and match? Are there a bunch of different characters that you get to mix and match?
I think there are 5 characters.
Okay. That's a lot of combos.
Yeah. The one that I like aesthetically, but he's definitely weird, is the rat person who is a berserker. He wants to take damage to fill up his rage bar and use empowered versions of his cards. He does also have some self-healing for that reason, but it seems less straightforward than the frog dude. I don't know what that guy actually is, who is just put me in the front, load me up with guard, use my guard to run into enemies. Easy enough. I did just pick this up on Switch, but I've had it on PC for a while. It is one of the games where it's a roguelike, not a roguelite. You can win on your first play, and you do not have anything in the way of permanent progression.
Aha! As opposed to the other game that we've been playing,
Across the Obelisk,
which is very much roguelite, and you will probably not win on your first play, but you will gain permanent progression.
Yeah, this one, all you're gaining is options.
Eventually, you'll win.
More like Risk of Rain, in that you get options which might synergize better. Because quite frankly, some of the cards I unlocked just do synergize better with the game, with certain game plans than anything I had access to. But you do not get numerically stronger between playthroughs.
I've been playing a ton of Across the Obelisk, and it is a multiplayer version of this where you can have multiple players controlling the different party members. And it was very fun to play as a group. And also, it's been fun to play solo.
The difference between these two games is that in Roguebook, your two characters share a deck.
Oh.
They have their own cards, but there is only one deck.
Interesting. So do you have one hand that has cards for both characters and you're trying to oh. So there are 5 colors, you say?
I think one of them is DLC. I think there are only 4 characters when this game launched, but there are definitely 5 now.
How closely do they correspond to the color?
They don't.
Okay.
They don't.
Can I play Simic?
Not in any meaningful sense. These do not map in any way to Magic colors.
Is there one that's focused on making them and their allies bigger? Because I'm willing to call that green. Sort
of, yes. Because you can't have allies that sort of act independently or have triggered abilities. But for the most part, there's not a whole lot that buffs them. But I've been having fun with this. I would like if they would make the text bigger on the Switch. That would be very nice. But it's still playable.
That's good.
I'm interested in that it gives you a world grid that you can walk around, and that it has pseudo magic-y kind of card game things going on. And I kind of want to try it to see if it's Duels of the Planeswalker.
I was going to say it makes me think
it is
Duels
not
of the Planeswalker.
It's not like Magic.
Hey.
It's like Slay the Spire in terms of gameplay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still willing to give it a shot.
I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's very cool. I'm just telling you, it's not that thing.
It'd be cool if somebody made that thing.
I agree. Somebody did, but they got shut down a long time ago now.
Yeah.
Shame they couldn't have released, the campaign part of Hex as a single-player game or something. That would have been really cool.
Yeah. Hex was just too close to Magic.
Sure was.
Hey, Tam, tell us about the Squats, or the Leagues of Votann.
Oh, yeah.
Yay, Squats.
They're back. Games Workshop has been teasing Space Dwarves returning for like a couple of years now, really low key, which is deeply weird, honestly, because they've been...
I will say that video where they announced the Necromunda character that had all the various clocks on it.
Yeah.
All of those have come true, haven't they?
All but one.
Huh.
The only one that hasn't is the plastic...
No, it has. That's for Aeronautica.
Oh, you're right. I mean, that's a real monkey's paw thing, but yeah, sure.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, they've been the poster child for what happens when a physical game removes pieces permanently.
Mm-hmm.
People hate it. It's bad. It haunts them for decades.
Bring back Zotes. That's the next one. Like, now that we have Squats, you've got to bring back Zotes.
Zotes.
I mean, there's jokes about that. But so okay. 40K is a setting that is pushing Poe's law in a big way at this point.
Yes.
And that's the problem with Zotes, is they don't really fit into an existing army list. Space Fomorians never became a thing. And they would be part of that list if that was the case.
They're referenced in the Leagues of Votann book.
Oh, really?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
Oh yeah, they are.
I
But
assume
yeah,
they're an
it's-
ancient enemy.
Unfortunately, it's probably a little disappointing because one of the references is a lot of people mistake is commentary that other species have been in contact with the Leagues of Votann for a lot longer than they might have realized. They just thought they were different things. So it feels a little bit like them being like, look, no, we're cutting you off. But yeah, like 40K is grimdark as a joke, but the joke has worn a little thin in much the same way that like cyberpunk fiction rides a real iffy line at the moment.
Yeah.
To the point where like Games Workshop has taken the like facade off a few times and been like, look, you cannot take this seriously. If you're taking this seriously, you're doing it wrong. And the other on the mechanics side, they've had this kind of problem for a while that D6 resolution is not very granular. They have like one faction that is strength 4, toughness 4, and basically everybody else is strength 3, toughness 3. Either you're a space marine of some flavor in power armor and you're strength 4, toughness 4, or you are strength 3, toughness 3 and you die in droves. And they never really reconciled that. And it turns out that then Votann fall into the strength 4, toughness 4 bucket.
Yay.
In the exact same space that old Space Marines used to. Like they're rocking a stat line that is almost identical to a Space Marine 4 years ago. It's just that they've updated the Space Marine line at this point to make Space Marines even tankier and like actually be very tanky, which works because now there's this space for this sort of middle ground, which is exactly where they fall. And I kind of got into them because they have this incredible NASA punk aesthetic, and I'm just so here for it.
Yeah, they have cool spacesuits.
Yeah, but also this is the first 40K codex that I have read all of the fluff cover to cover because it's interesting and it doesn't make me cringe, possibly ever.
Because the Leagues of Votann are not terrible?
They're not. They have, like everything in 40K, they have a fatal flaw. But their fatal flaw is not, we're a bunch of dicks. Their fatal flaw is tech debt. Like, I mean, and the lore is actually really cool. They're humans that were heavily genetically modified in the kind of precursor to the Space Marine project before, well before the Emperor and all of that nonsense, before the Imperium. They're pre-Imperium humans that went out in generation ships with really great genetic engineering and cloning technology managed by these super AIs to live in the galactic core. And almost nobody goes in the galactic core because it's incredibly inhospitable and has super high gravity, which is why they're like shorter and stockier because more gravity. And they've been clone adapted over generations to survive in high gravity. And the big problem is their whole society is underpinned by these super AIs that are struggling under legacy code. And because there's a central tenet of their culture that is, you bring the most value to society if you go out and have these experiences that are then, when they die, if their bodies can be recovered, their memories are absorbed into the AI core, which gives it more data to process and thus better at predicting.
Oh.
So the very best thing you can do as a dwarf is go out into the universe, collect lots and lots of experiences, and then bring them back to your AI core.
So the ghosts of their ancestors do in fact exist.
Yes.
As in the AI. That's awesome.
It's so cool. It is legitimately one of the coolest spins on dwarves I've seen in a long time. And also, like, they straight up do. It's like, this is their fatal flaw. Everything that is great about their culture is also slowly but surely becoming a huge problem.
The thing I dig is that basically all of their stuff is early Space Marine tech. like it's pre-Horus Heresy,
Yeah.
early patterns for things.
It's definitely not. It is way more advanced.
But like they have a bolter. They've done their own stuff to their bolter, but it's a bolter. Like
it's a bolter.
It would have at one point started off as like an early Mars pattern bolter, but then they did their own things to it.
Yeah, it's like all recognizably human tech, just good. Like they've got plasma weapons. Their plasma weapons don't explode. That would be terrible. That's not high-tiered forge craft.
They're actually allowed to improve their stuff.
Yeah.
What? I hear that's heresy.
And they like there's a whole bunch of call-outs that are like, yeah, they actually kind of go out of their way to avoid too much contact with the Imperium because they think the Imperium sucks. It does.
It does.
And they don't want the Imperium trying to do imperialist claims on them. They prefer to be thought of by the rest of humanity as Xenos.
Yeah, no, I can see it.
And like it's super cool. And there's just a whole bunch of like just great notes in the storytelling that are like, yeah, this is why you haven't seen them. Oh, they also, in the classic dwarfs hate orcs thing, the one species crazy / stupid / aggressive enough to go into the galactic core are, of course, the orcs.
Of course.
So they're constantly dealing with them and they hate them.
I would assume they'd probably encounter a lot of chaos as well. Because you would think chaos don't care about going into the galactic core.
They mostly just die. That's the thing, is there's nothing there for them. Chaos wants like minds and souls. And they've done a bunch of work genetically engineering that shit out so they can travel more safely. But yeah, it's super cool seeing this come back. I really, really love the aesthetic. I love that Games Workshop is kind of, they're willing to poke fun at themselves again, which sort of leads me to the other part of it. This edition of 40K has had some balance issues.
A little bit.
This was almost one of them.
And this was almost one of them. Their initial rules were so busted strong that they nerfed them before the box was available publicly.
Wow.
Because as it turns out, skipping an entire roll is very strong. Skipping an entire roll half the time and then having that skipped roll count as the best roll that you skipped, and then having a bunch of effects that key off of that is busted strong.
That sounds like it could be.
Like it's one of those things that looks like kind of a neat idea, and then you do the math on it, and the math is a problem. So they ate a huge nerf, and honestly, it's fine. They're still good. They're still cool. They released a genuinely funny, genuinely self-aware, self-deprecating mea culpa video. And like I really enjoy. It was like, yeah, people who were mad about it were like, okay, that video was pretty funny. And yes, they messed it up, but it's clear they care about fixing it. Sweet. And like, I don't know, it's cool to see. And part of it is also just assembling and painting miniatures is a thing that I can put down in about 10 seconds at any given time, which is pretty valuable at the present moment.
Yep.
I don't know if it's been mentioned on the show, but I have a 1-month-old now. Occasionally, she needs attention imminently.
Yep. Yeah, they don't. They have very little chill at that age, or more accurately, they have either 100% chill or 0 chill at any given moment. This can change. This can change on a dime.
Okay, this next topic: limited availability is dumb. What is this?
I don't know specifically what is being referred to here, but
I mean, it's a true statement. It's a true statement.
Yeah, I felt like it would be pretty uncontroversial. This is a Star Citizen boast.
I had a feeling.
Okay.
I sourced myself a birthday present.
Did you find the thing?
I did.
Oh my god! I don't know how you found the thing.
I'll tell you a story. Okay, so Star Citizen has been around for 10 years now, and in that 10 years, it's a lot of things have occurred. It's done a lot of things. Reevaluating how long it takes them to make a game, or at least make a completely released game, is definitely one of those things. But also, it's quite possibly the most ambitious video game ever.
Mhm.
And as a result, there's a lot of just like legacy. It's had legacy stuff even before it launches. And two of those things were promos with hardware. Star Citizen has now outlived two pieces of hardware that it had promotional deals with. One graphics card through AMD, which if you have that graphics card, you probably can't play Star Citizen on it. And
it's not like the other piece of hardware is any better in this particular respect.
Well, and Intel, which was the Intel Optane SSD.
Which admittedly is a weird technology that never quite sussed out.
Yeah, and certainly not for video games. So as a result, and what you got were, as the part of the promo, were ships. Because like sort of Star Citizen's thing is you build a ship collection one way or another. One of those ships, the one that came with the graphics card, is basically just a reskin of an existing one. Which, I mean, cool if you're into that, but whatever, I don't care. The other one, I think their first one, is an actively unique ship. And it is a stealth data runner with an EMP in it. It is like the exact kind of fighter that I want to fly. It's not good. Let me be clear. It's not good. It once was good, and maybe it will be good in the future. But right now, it's not that good. But it is fun, and it is virtually impossible to get. If you look through like gray market, like standard gray market channels, because of course there are standard Star Citizen gray market channels.
Of course.
It tends to go for like $1,000 to $1,200, which no.
Yikes.
Like absolutely not. Even at Star Citizen ship prices, no. And the SSDs are no longer in production, nor are the ones with the codes available. So if you want one of these ships, you either have to find some way of sourcing this SSD that you admittedly probably don't need.
This is a server product.
Yeah, because it's mostly used on servers, I guess.
Like it was this dumb idea that Intel had where, hey, SSDs are really expensive. So how about we give you an SSD that's only going to act as a caching mechanism for your physical hard drive?
Right. And as it turns out...
I had a computer in 2012 that used one of the, not this one, but similar technology to that. It wasn't good.
No, it wasn't.
And now SSDs aren't that expensive, so you don't need it anyway.
Right. It has, and yeah, so in finding one, you're like, this hard drive, this disk drive that wasn't, or this SSD that wasn't that useful to begin with, probably didn't get stocked very many places. You're kind of hoping that you're either kind of hoping to find, a magic box somewhere in some out of the way, like PC hardware store, which good luck. Especially because quite a few people realized some time ago that the slip of paper with a code inside is worth a lot more than the drive. And some of that has occurred. But my approach was a little different. I was like, okay, I'm never going to find a pristine drive with a code in it. And if I do, there's a decent chance that it's been repackaged, because a lot of them have been refurbished. So like that's probably unlikely. So what I did instead is I started looking for network server enthusiast forums. Because the goal here was to find the exact kind of slightly grognardy, we're really into like servers, setting up servers for their own sake, old school, like Internet 1.0 message boards.
You're looking for the kind of person who, A, would have bought one of these things, B, wouldn't have been interested in the ship, and C, would have kept all of the stuff in the box.
Yes.
That seems like a high ask, but
It's
also
not
I know how
that
I
high.
am. Yeah, I know how I am about my PC hardware, so yeah.
It turns out I hang out with a lot of IT professionals. So I'm at this point somewhat practiced in finding that kind of person. And did in fact run into somebody who 2.5 years ago had a post on the forum wondering about this extra video game probably thing in the box with the drive that they actually cared about. And I did in fact shoot this person a message that was like, hey, if you long shot, but if you still have this lying around, let me know. And he's like, oh yeah, it's just here in a drawer. I've got like 5 of them. So I was like, hey, call it a finder's fee, and also let me make your week.
You have cash money in that
Yeah,
drawer.
Do you want a bunch of real easy money? Let me help you out. And so he was more than willing to part with one for like a relative pittance compared to the probably $4,000 he made on the other ones.
Yeah.
And now I have one of, if not the rarest ship that more than one person has in Star Citizen.
That is a wild ride.
Yeah.
It is a wild ride. That having been said, this limited availability stuff is dumb.
It's so dumb.
Oh yeah.
But like,
so dumb.
You and I had a conversation, and what makes this worse is the item you were looking for came out in an era when CompUSA no longer existed. You know, various other retailers that once upon a time would have had such a thing just aren't relevant anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And like, even the mom and pop computer store is mostly a dying breed.
Oh yeah.
So like probably it originally came from Newegg and was bought like by people like the one you found, and that's your only outlet. I am happy you finally found it.
It's been one of those things that I've been just like idly keeping an eye out for, because like for me it was not finding one, which was not impossible. It was finding one at a price point that I found slightly reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I remember you were like, hey Belle, you like to go to computer junk stores.
How long did you say you've been kind of like looking for this?
Like 18 months or so.
Wow. That's really cool.
It was neat. It was neat to find it. It was one of those things where it's like, I've definitely seen a few like, oh yeah, if I were willing to drop $1,000, I could just have one. But like, no, I have limits. There's limits to my whaling.
Like, I have a lot of stories of things that I found without realizing what they were worth and then couldn't find them again. I don't have a lot of, like, oh, hey, I've been searching and then magically found, the Holy Grail. Like, as much junking as I have done over the years, I've never found any magic cards. Like, I've always looked for them. That's been a thing that I've been hunting for. And I remember, like, once upon a time, I stumbled across a little shop that had all of the super rare Vampire the Eternal Struggle sets, like the Sabbat and stuff like that, for $250 a piece. And at the time, I wasn't super into it, so I didn't pick it up. And by the time I went back, that store no longer existed.
I have a distinct memory of a little pop-up, like a little one of those carts that shows up in the mall sometimes.
Yep.
That had magic cards, like hard to find magic cards. And I had, at the time, what felt like just an unbelievable amount of money I was going to spend. I had like $130 that I could, like birthday money that I could spend on magic cards in any way I wanted. And I could have, they had Moxes for 100 and a Black Lotus for 125.
Wow.
And I did not buy either because I could get 6 packs of Legends and Antiquities instead.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a story like that where the comic shop that first had Magic when I was getting into it was selling singles, and they had some Moxes, but it was a Mox, Mox Sapphire, whatever the blue one was, and a Mox Diamond. But like, unless they had a Mox Emerald or a Mox Jet, I wasn't that interested.
Because you're playing green and black.
I was playing green and black, and they're like $20 a piece.
Yep.
And I should have picked them up because I didn't quite grok that any free mana card was good.
Yeah, I mean, there's that too. Is like any Mox can go in any deck, and it'd be useful.
Yeah, like I just hadn't quite realized that. Oh, well, and at the time I was like, it's just like a land. It's an artifact that's just like a land. I don't know why anybody wants this thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
That indirectly reminds me. I was watching, I don't know, various YouTube videos coming up in my feed, and it was one like a Magic player showing 5 Magic cards to a Yu-Gi-Oh player, and the Yu-Gi-Oh player had to figure out which ones were the super awesome ones that were broken, and which ones were just not that good. And it was very entertaining. And the one that he got wrong, that I immediately was like, that card is amazing, was Yawgmoth's Bargain.
Oh yeah.
Because he was like, well, it's 6 mana
It's 6
for
mana.
that. That's a lot. And you have to worry about resources in Magic. Yeah, that just doesn't seem that good.
Yeah, it turns out there's a little bit too much fast mana. Yawgmoth's Bargain is, I mean, it doesn't get the press that a lot of other things, like it doesn't get the press that Necropotence even does.
Yeah.
And Necropotence is half the price for a much worse effect.
But yeah, no, I saw that card and I was like, that's 2 Dark Rituals, and then I can just draw all the cards.
Yeah, yes, you can.
That is good.
But Yawgmoth's Bargain is an interesting one because it turns out they created a much better version of Yawgmoth's Bargain called Grizzlebrand. It's a real good version of Yawgmoth's Bargain because it's attached to a 7/7 flying lifelink body. Yeah,
I mean, you have to pay the life 7 at a time, but that's not really a problem, is it?
Yeah, but you know how many ways I can put a creature onto the battlefield versus an enchantment onto the battlefield?
That's fair.
Yeah, like that's a creature is easier to cheat out.
Yeah, creature
significantly easier.
Yeah, Grizzlebrand's a problem. There's a reason, like, there's not a lot that's banned in Commander, but Grizzlebrand definitely is.
Yawgmoth's Bargain is also banned in Commander.
It's fair.
Necropotence isn't, for the record.
Yeah. Necropotence is also a problem, though. But yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun. Like, I wonder if somebody who understands what Pot of Greed is understands how ridiculous Ancestral Recall is.
Yes.
In fact,
yes, the answer is yes.
In fact, that led them to overvaluing the bad Ancestral Recall remake. That isn't that good.
The one that costs like 4 mana?
It costs 4 mana unless, like, there's a specitic way that you can get it out. I think it's a miracle.
Is there a miracle Ancestral?
There's a miracle Ancestral Recall. It's because it's not actually an Ancestral Recall. So it's
go ahead.
I was gonna say, the thing that always floors me with Magic is the cards that did not hold up in value at all, that used to be crazy expensive.
Yeah, I mean, some of those is because they're banned.
Well, okay, but Jester's Cap.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Jester's Cap used to be a $50 card in like 98.
Yep.
Like that would now it's like $10.
Yeah. Well,
the original printing.
It turns out back then you were really only running like, I don't know, 1 card that could possibly kill your opponent because most of the cards were not that great.
Well, and then you tutored for it.
Yeah, and then you tutored for it. And so Jester's Cap was like, in that meta, Jester's Cap was frequently you just can't win the game because I have taken away all of your ability to do harm to me.
Yeah, I just milled your win condition.
I removed your combo.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wow, the borderless version of that they just put out looks really cool. Anyway.
But yeah, there's like some that are funny, like Channel is like a 3rd edition Channel is like 10 cents because it's banned.
Channel's banned absolutely
you can't
everywhere.
Play Channel. That card is broken. Like
they also put out a new one despite this.
Of course they did. Well, I'm sure it's in the fancy, 30th edition.
Absolutely.
cards.
Chandel isn't banned in Vintage, right?
I mean, okay,
It's restricted.
sure.
I mean, it's
it's restricted.
It's as banned as cards get.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Other than anti and other cards.
Yeah, but like
manual dexterity.
Manual dexterity cards that are very racist, and Shahrazad are banned everywhere.
Yeah. And cards that are just a little too sexy. I don't think there's anything racist about Earthbind.
I didn't know about that one.
That was one of the very first, like, this art
That's legal
is
now.
gone and is gone forever.
That's legal now.
That card
BDSM
awoke
fairy.
a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there are more recent versions of Earthbind that they will reprint. They will never.
No, they haven't reprinted this since revised.
They will never reprint the original.
They haven't reprinted this card at all since revised.
Oh, they haven't even a new version. Wow, it's not like it's that good. I mean,
It's not, which is why it's not banned. But yeah, they haven't reprinted it either.
Yeah.
There's also a bunch of there's a new set that came out of Magic that has a bunch of cards that you're allowed to play in games like Vintage, and also a lot of cards that you aren't.
Magic. I love unsets. Unsets are so fun.
Unsets are so fun.
They are highly entertaining.
Much like Games Workshop having a good laugh at themselves, Unsets are Magic having a good laugh at itself, and honestly, here for it.
I just like to have gotten far enough that some of the cards,
for everything.
Some of the cards in the unset are actually legal in other formats.
Some of them might be a problem.
I'm going to laugh the first time a unset card gets banned from Legacy or Vintage.
I don't know about those, but Blank Goblin, which everyone is referring to as Mind Goblin, is a problem in Pauper Storm.
You know, I figured this would be an Acorn card. I didn't realize it wasn't.
Nope. Stickers are legal. Stickers are eternal legal.
That's nonsense and hilarious.
Yup.
Yeah, it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
You go to a Magic game and you can just be like, yep, let's play some sticker Magic. Delusionary Goblin. 3 mana for a 2/2 that when it ETBs, you create 6 red mana. It's Yes. That was some of the people who were looking at it and was like, wait a second. Storm in red is already a deck in this. I'm pretty sure this card just goes in. Now, it's worth noting, Delusionary is the only sticker that has all 6 vowels on it. And the rules are, you have to bring a deck of stickers with 10 cards in it, and you shuffle that up and you get to draw 3 of them. And those are the ones you get to have access to for that game. So you aren't always going to be able to do that. You might blank a bit, but yes. Sticker sheets are eternal. Not sure about that decision, but okay. Let's roll with it.
That seems like a weird one. But yeah, even if you don't get the why, still that's what Seething Song is. Seething Song is 3 mana for 5 mana. And Seething Song is banned in Modern. It's legal in Pauper, though. So, this is not any worse than that card they already had access to. Except, you also get a 2/2 out of it.
Yeah, it is a 2/2. That opens up a bunch of lines for, depending on what you're doing, if that becomes the centerpiece of your deck, flickering it.
Mm-hmm. In red.
I mean, your Storm, you might be 5 color.
Fair.
Remember, this isn't Commander. Color restrictions aren't as big of a thing.
Sure, but even a combo deck wants to have consistency to some extent.
Yeah, my guess is my guess would be that it is red-blue, and it might be red-blue-white.
Red-blue makes sense for cantrip beats, cheap spells. They raise your storm count.
I mean, very, very much a challenge. Manamorphose is common, which does just say increase your storm count by 1.
Well, I think we are way over at this point. Any final thoughts?
I'm so excited for new Owl House.
Lower decks is real good this season. It was already good, and now it's more good.
I need to catch up on that.
Playing step-based rhythm games is kind of a workout.
It is.
New World patch drops on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
What day of the week is it? I mean, I guess it has to be Saturday.
It is Saturday.
It is Saturday.
This
the
is
day
your
that we
fence
record
post. This is your fence post. Cling to this as the one thing that will keep you grounded in time. It is your temporal anchor.
Yep.
This podcast.
Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the show, and we will see you again next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
See you.